Hey, what's up? I'm AIT 800-pound non-Olympic non-Ozempic conclusions jumper ready for complacent caregiver to leave peace-offering non-Sunday Chick-fil-A Sunday on breakfast in bed tray. 10 a.m. Bring cameras out. Podcast the sloppiest possible drama soap opera mukbang, then immediately take 2 steps behind for detailed cinematic recording of OnlyFans exclusive anal bleaching requests. I am beautiful, perfect, average American, wet dreaming, private streaming, my high-value square footage skin so they map me like GeoGuessr. Demanding pathways to ecstasy, long way for results. I am typical and normal and everyone's like me. So am I. I'm blue hair tattoo vapist up 5 a.m., 3 a.m., 7 p.m. every day for odd-hour shift at Tribal Casino. Mentally starting Crystal's business with money I keep skillfully kenoing away. Still avoidant detaching from pure hookup cope. Try to junk the TV because all I watch now is Love Island, Love is Blind, What is Love, Can It Hurt Me? I'm a temperamental, incidental, non-covered vision dental American hurtling toward eternal distrust of the life I chose for myself. And yet I'm still average, reasonable, insightful family Thanksgiving dinner appreciator, you get it, whatever. This is all normal and everyone's like me. And we're all just like everyone. We average American diner visitor donor addicts. Gas station Celsius guzzlers, Fahrenheit defenders, racing 5 cars a day to appointments and dinners and baby showers, forever hiding from mounting insurmountable credit card debt. We restless imaginers of potential and wealth and how it all slips away. Waiting in traffic or bank lines or DMV seats, waiting and waiting, just caught up in waiting through infinite, endless, brutalist gridlock bureaucracy. We cold hot dog consumers keep drinking and talking and driving till third sudden stroke or arthritis kicks in. We wheelchair-bound, barely conscious gun show attendees, now old and gray and armed and dangerous and loved by all, hated by most, liked by some. There's a weird irrationality to doing everything all the time, from birth till death, dusk till dawn. Go trade, hustle, bet your future on the future as a concept, make millions instantly, get rich easy, quick, queasy bake recipe for success. A weird irrationality to living in a culture of never considering where you're going, why you're really doing what you're doing. It's why we're often so scared of thinking about death, and why we're often, society, so scared of thinking. I was born at optimistic technological 2000s beginning, and am decently confident that none of this was inevitable. That we're all basically on a stupid indefinite bender telling ourselves nothing matters, just help yourself, while locked in psychopathically shooting up in right arm vein or vainly shooting psychopaths up given right to be armed, as if all this callous disregard for others is a symptom of life and not a symptom of living where we do. This is America. Go do everything, be everything, find the thing to do and do it till no one can ever do it again. Till your gullet fills with liquid gold and you live in a remote Alaskan cabin with hunting rifle, 5 huskies, uncomfortably bragging to hundreds of Uber passengers about your masterful role in having done the thing to do. Hey you, yeah, I'm talking to you, American semi-doomerous consumerist, having achieved money and house and car and stability for yourself and only yourself. Go say that this life you've masterfully happenstancely built is perfect, inevitable, reasonable, normal, and fine. I mean, almost all of us really do just unironically talk like that. If we could, with access to infinite wealth and possibility, almost all of us would scream out from the poolside cabana at $50 million Las Vegas mansion, while filming house tour for interested Chinese investors, that the things we all hate to do and watch and stomach are things we all have to do and watch and stomach, that you could never have more than you have now and could never do more than you've done now, fixed mindset, apathy, brain rot. With the right special lifestyle incentive, almost any of us could easily believe that having nothing is a type of character flaw. Pull up the ladder and draw your conclusions given bootstraps and bootstrapping. That any nostalgic yearning for past cohesive mall-browsing, local restaurant-frequenting American culture is an incomprehensible moral failing of people unwilling to embrace the flawless, inevitable future. Supposedly a future where those who currently have everything will get everything, and those who currently have not that much will probably get nothing at all. We now asymptotically approach this apparently ideal society, infinite poor people working 24/7 shifts while eventually zero rich people total leisurely lounge forever, working none of the time. So of course we'd become furry fetish artists. Of course we'd monetize our face modifications. Of course we'd findom, slap a label on any quirk or power dynamic to sell it. This channel is comedic philosophy, but also a business I'm building. Your life is a life, but also a process you're continuing. Productivity can feel incredible, but it probably doesn't feel that incredible when productivity occurs at the expense of happiness. We're still deciding to be productive continuously every day. The problem is that a lot of us are circumstantially missing that potent fundamental reason for being productive, that explanation for why we're actually doing what we're doing. It's like a worldwide, countrywide, American, and sometimes non-American cultural choice we keep recurrently making and eternally self-referentially justifying. And every kickstreamer arrest, every free, clean, Patreon-supported service, every second of every minute, every thought inside overthinking meta-analytical brain, we keep following the mantra, you will sacrifice your happiness for productivity. It's the productive thing to do. Still unable to prioritize happiness in a world where productivity is theoretically supposed to provide some level of happiness, but only if you're productive enough. And this productive doom spiral soul-sucking soul cycle is apparently American and normal and everywhere and fine. Hammered in via toll roads and levies and IDs and fees. Insurance renewals, tax returns, just buzzing ever-present entrepreneurial dementia inspiring new businesses, ventures, mergers, collabs, making everything that's efficient inhospitable to happiness. Everything inefficient synonymous with simple so-called ineffective contentment. So how do we make happiness just as culturally important as spending 30 years working dead-end mid-size accounting firm job? How do we prioritize contentment without making everyone not not want to do anything. American do-everything culture, life-defying 9 to 5 by blocky, repetitive, continual action-taking. Emails and clicking and sales calls and endless monotone nothingness habitually, factually, brutally done in the omnipotent name of productivity. Take this pizza party next summer or free retirement gift. Find happiness if you want, maybe post age 65, doomed to endlessly cruise and get lost in Australian hikes. It's so obvious that something's going wrong with how our collective obsession with productivity keeps manifesting. There's no way this sanguine corporate method of cutting costs to the point that employees are only just not unhappy enough to leave is an ideal managerial system. But maybe this issue is really more fundamental than a lot of us realize. What if all that stigma against so-called laziness isn't a reflection of how contentment makes people act, but is instead a reflection of productivity culture's subjugation of contentment itself? If all billboards, YouTube Reels, ads suggest that doing nothing is generally a sign that you're uselessly depraved, how can you expect to respect people who do nothing while living in American productivity culture? I mean, look at how you probably viscerally react to the concept of doing nothing with your life. Sure, I can imagine that doing nothing with one's life may not necessarily be that bad, but I'm not doing nothing with my life, at least. Unless you really are doing nothing with your life. What if we allow some leeway for doing nothing, at least with the understanding that doing nothing periodically can be vital for restoring one's happiness? What if we balance the concept of doing everything all the time with the tentative, respectful possibility of doing nothing some of the time? How tired are you, really? Are you really unaffected by everything stoic, unchanging, indifferent, resilient, inhuman entity floating timelessly in future planned purgatory? Why can't we mostly culturally measure success by how happy or manageably content we are? Try enjoying the fruit of your labor sometime. And I know some people are already able to step out of hustle culture, shrigma, maelstrom, content farm, grindset, and relax for certain weekends or days. But the saturated culture of do first, think later is too potent to ignore for most of us. This deafening environment requirement to live up to who we ego-driven gifted kid unironically often think we are. This mandate decreeing we will all become 90-hour workweek psychopath galaxy brain yada chads coasting through school and work and life with not a visible care in the world. 50% of our energy spent on maintaining facade of spending no energy at all. And I know some people are kind of literally built different. And honestly, yeah, too many people try to drag the built different ones down to their level. But in over-recognizing the pragmatic effectiveness of being built different, we end up normalizing inhuman obsession with working, achieving, producing, creating nonstop in the name of productivity, neglecting the happiness and etc. of like 99% of Americans who probably need more than 4 hours of sleep and more than 30 minutes of leisure a week. So no, don't stop doing what you were doing. If it's comfortable, if your life feels on track and understandable and you don't need 5 bumps of the good stuff to stay awake through another lecture, another sales day, another Mother's Day brunch. But all of us Americans, all hookah lounge lovers, anime convention attendees, need to recognize that every aspect of our infatuation with movement and action and filling time with movies, interactions, conflict, and concepts is only beautiful, ideal, aesthetic, acceptable insofar as we're able to rein it all in. Insofar as we're able to dial it back and calm down and stay in and cry to Arcane first season or something. Each of us needs to determine whether all these things we keep doing are just distracting from some greater goal we want to fulfill or some internal conflict we want to resolve. Are you putting your all into managing new warehouse shipment because you'd rather not think about recent death in the family? Is arcade rhythm game suitable substitute for distant aloof father figure? Okay, yeah, I'm half making fun of this type of thing, but it's really because all of this brain attrition is so brutally everywhere right now. So many bachelor parties, girls' nights out, concealing any one person's pain and or anger with projects and emails by day and EDM strobe-like groping by night, infinite productivity and occasional structured, rare, culturally sanctioned relaxation, kicking every bit of cognitive dissonance down the road for some future alcoholic self-version to deal with. And it's fun to be someone doing something somewhere, to embody an archetype approved of by friends or family or the world as a whole. But that cultural fantasy of cookie-cutter lives leaves no room for nuanced, unresolved emotional despair, for the midlife crisis inevitable after the sudden dissolution of any one person's private equity firm. How can you decide who you are while following that external, unchanging American life trajectory? Can you sense your aching, valueless soul under all plinko losses, parlay wins? Our American culture is just too good at directing your accusatory gaze away from yourself and making you obsessed with preserving the sanctity of your being at the cost of everyone else, everyone who isn't good enough at existing according to money-making, self-promoting American expectations. Here, you can be a narcissist forever and no one will call you on it. Just flash your concealed carry permit and call it a day. And you know what? I'm honestly deep down naturally drawn to this non-introspective build, connect, create American culture I grew up in. And even so, I'm kind of philosophy channel moment annoyed by the part where most of us never think at all about anything we do. I love the deep-fried laser tag, bowling alley, awesome taco truck, beach day, cold stone, ice cream cone, endless activity, endless leisure, endless pleasure way of life. But I hate that we can't meta-recognize the systemic structural aspects of life here that preserve our action-oriented way of doing things. I hate that you apparently can't love excess for excess's sake while also acknowledging what allows for that excess to exist. How most of us just take everything we have and everything we'll have in the future for granted completely. How you can't suggest fixing anything because any sincere attempt to systematically improve American lives is viewed as gay and cringe anti-libertarian siphoning of tax dollars to useless non-individualist project of helping people. Hey guys, why can't we just have any humility at all and recognize that when most people have access to money and leisure and non-90-hour work weeks, we'll probably go back to that pre-80s world of strip malls and excess, but also strongly held value systems protecting our precious way of life. Have we considered that the the world we long to inhabit again, a world of strong communities, strong leaders, strong patriotic ideals shared by most people, was forged via good policy combined with plenty of American entrepreneurial neighborhood kindness and spirit, I feel like we forget that what made America America, if it's ever really been idealized America, was never the freedom to swindle any average white-collar, blue-collar worker out of last week's pay. It was the freedom to do what you want, say what you want, be who you want, in a country of excess luckily preserved by excessive precision and care. Instead of bragging about lucky access to money and assets and things, then, maybe we should be bragging about continued lucky access to a system with such huge, free, misguided potential. I wish more of us could see what makes this culture of excess so alluring, while also realizing how much upkeep is required to keep this culture of excess possible. So yeah, American culture is like this because we Americans are generally just productively burning ourselves up at both ends. Doing everything, trying everything till early retirement or unexpectedly late mid-30s demise. We've always felt this undying, impenetrable obsession with the beautiful concept of freedom. Do anything, be anything, why let the authorities take anything from you? But have trouble recognizing how much must be sacrificed to preserve that freedom, and can't normally tell what it takes to keep ourselves strong, respected, unwavering, our culture of excess pushing us to complacently assume this excess will be here forever. We have to recognize that in our endless quest to embody every archetypal myth we culturally set ourselves, we forget to pay attention to not only our own internal psychological deep-seated issues, but also the deep-seated issues plaguing the culture we love. So much of American life is fast-paced, unparalleled, upper echelon meetings, social gatherings, genuinely interesting facades or non-facades, barely concealing widespread insecurity. But we also need to temper this culture of excess with a level of nuanced, careful introspection, if we want it to survive into the future. A level of necessary tentativeness. Oh hey, maybe it's kind of bad that that bridge is deteriorating. That keeps our truly incredible way of life possible and actualizable. Guys, this place really is amazing. The chicken finger, charbroiled, gelatinized life of meeting people, doing things, and going places. I kind of just selfishly, narcissistically, Americanizedly don't want the freedom of living like this to ever go away. If you like this video, consider subscribing to watch satisfying subscription animation, hype this video using new hype system, and or like and comment your favorite normal and fine American pastime. Also join my Patreon for extra content plus additional human interaction and probably other stuff too. Lots of American entrepreneurial interpersonal potential there or something. Remember, despite your excess skill at certain things, you have to temper your Americanized ego with humble recognition that you're not an infallible being. Go touch some grass for a sort of burgeoning middle class. Bye.